welcome back to episode 19 of Bobble Pod. Season 3 going really well. This episode we talk about Performance Max campaigns. And if anyone doesn't know what Performance Max campaign is, it's a new campaign type launched by Google Ads. So if you're running Google Ads campaigns, you would have recently noticed that Smart Shopping campaigns have died and Performance Max campaigns have overturned. But before I get to nitty gritty, I'm just going to quickly, as always, jump in and say, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe our podcast platforms. If you're on YouTube, as always, hello YouTube, and do click on the bell notification and subscribe. And please give your feedback back at the end because we like hearing back. It helps us provide better, more informed content on what's hot and what's not. So Performance Max campaigns. They did actually, Josh or Callum, did you know what they were before I talked about them?
I think, have we discussed it on the podcast before?
Someone pays attention. Yes, we have. We have talked about how they were introduced. So if anyone doesn't know, start of November 2021, Google Performance Max was one of several solutions designed to help businesses. Now, it really came into its forefront this year. Before then, we were all doing smart shopping campaigns, which were performing, let's be honest with you, better than Google shopping, manual shopping campaigns. Now, smart shopping campaigns, it's all about automation. With Google, it's all about automation. I've talked about this loads of times, it's all about automation. So smart shopping campaigns was all about automation. But what you always found with smart shopping campaigns was only 10, 15 products would work. So the best way around it was to run a separate smart shopping campaign, take out the 10, 15 products that were working well in that list and run it with the new list. And then you'd get another 10, 15 products that would perform well. Then you'd have to take them out of that list and then open up a new campaign run that way. And it wasn't as great because yes, it drove a lot of revenue. Yes, it drove a low CPA and a good ROI, but some of the times it never really drove the sales of the products that maybe clients wanted the most of or where the margin was of. Because if you're achieving £30,000 worth of revenue from, I don't know, £5,000 to £10,000 spend, that's anywhere between a 300% return on investment to 600% return on investment. But if your margin on that is only 10% of all the products you've made, have you really made that much of a profit? That's the nitty gritty elements that we had to get into when we were doing campaigns on Google. Now, Performance Max campaigns have been entered, and it's not just for shopping. And let me tell you that, because the idea with Performance Max campaigns was that smart shopping campaigns are discontinued now. They've all been migrated over in August to Performance Max campaigns, whether it was smart display campaigns, no matter what. Smart campaigns, dead, done. If you're still running smart shop campaigns, you won't be seeing any traction from it. You won't be seeing any performance from it because they've automatically been migrated over to Performance Max campaign, and you won't have the assets or the campaign set up or structure in place to run that campaign effectively to get the leads you want. Now, what we found with Performance Max campaigns is it's not just for e-commerce. So we have been doing a number of tests this year and running campaigns with one of our clients, the aesthetics doctor. And with that, all he's looking for is appointment bookings for any of his surgeries, even Leeds, Manchester or London. And what we found was that the Performance Max campaigns, PM, I'm going to call them PM for short, so I don't have to keep saying it in full. The PM campaigns delivered more conversions that month when we introduced it than the manual search campaigns that we were running against specific treatment types, let's say surgical rhinoplasties or, lip fillers, elements like that. So that did better. But then the same thing came back from the client. I want more of these particular types of, bookings, whereas Performance Max campaigns really focuses on everything that you do. So again, it's all automation. It understands, it's an algorithm. It understands who your customer is, who's integrating, who's interacting with the ad. But these ads aren't just in Google. It's not just in the shopping feed. These ads are in display. These ads are in mobile, in app, on YouTube, in pre-roll. It's across all of Google's platforms. And it's basically like a one campaign fits all approach. Like all you need to do now is run Performance Max campaigns. Now we have multiple campaigns running depending on the setup and the campaign that we're running within that. So for example, we might have performance back campaigns focus on a certain service, and then with keywords and elements and audiences target towards that. And specifically the creative and the video and the imagery that we're using for that will be specific to that service offering. You can have multiple performance max campaigns, but you have to get into the nitty-gritty of the targeting, the keyword elements that relate to that particular service, and making sure the creative matches that as well at the same time. But there's a lot of things you can do with performance max campaigns. I'm first going to talk about how do they work. So using AI to display what we call responsive ads on Google's main networks, and you can define and structure their campaigns accordingly. Google focuses its bidding on a targeting system allowing marketers to target their audiences using a personalized choice of conversion goals. But to reach these conversion goals, there's many discrepancies to look out for. Google has many default requirements and pre-selected settings, which can affect the way your campaign runs. While they're tricky to pick out, I have 3 top tips when you're looking out for them. So the first is video and image assets. So this is what I just talked about. So the creative formats is an integration of text, images, and videos, and it's essential you have all 3. So text comes in the form of your responsive search ads. Images come up with product or specific brand related high quality images. And then you've got video, which is essential. And it's the video creative we see that works so much. So if you're an agency or you're a business or you're a marketing department that wants to get more out of performance campaigns and are not performing, that's because you need better video content. It's as simple as that. Assets such as headlines and descriptions are imperative to the campaigns as PM because it covers multiple inventories. Unlike display, where it was all about where creative assets were kind of like optional, PM requires campaigns to include them. If advertisers don't provide Google with image or video, Google Ads will create them automatically. And this is what's happened with the switchover, that everything's been created automatically, performance has dropped off. You need to give dedicated time and focus to understand what assets you need and how to build them out. It is far more effective to create your own images, graphics, than allowing Google to choose them for you. Not only will they be original and unlike everything that's already out there, it'll also help match the branding of your company and help you stand yourself out against everyone else running the same kind of campaign strategy and formats that are out there. The other tip is URL expansion. So one thing to look at when you're running PM campaigns is the URL expansion, which by default is turned on by the program. This means that unless you manually turn the expansion off, the campaign has permission to send users to other landing pages, which will be different to the final URL. So when you run search campaigns, you put in your final URL. Now, imagine if you put in your final URL to a particular ad. Let's say I was running a campaign for PPC agency leads, but we rank at the top of page 1 for that anyway. If I was to do an ad for that, sorry, a bit of self-promotion there. If I was to do that for a Google ad and we were targeting PPC agency leads and an ad came up, a responsive search ad came up, and the final URL was our PPC page on our website, so /PPC. Basically, it's like if you run that, but then that URL change into /SEO or /video or /blogs or go into other elements. So basically by having that, what we call the expansion on, because it's automatically enabled on, means that the performance max campaign drives people to other URLs other than the one you're intending it to do. So I would advise turning it off if you only want people to go to this particular URL. Because if that URL has that call to action, the lead form, the whatever data capture is, or the product that you want to sell, it's important that that's the one it goes to. So with dynamic ads, however, you can set specific landing pages. I will make that note. Sorry, I had a caveat in here in terms of notes that you can do that. But unlike PM campaigns, you can only set exclusion towards the pages which you do not want the campaign to attract. So the URL, final URL element of PM campaigns isn't that as great as in terms of it's more automated, but you can do manual elements. location settings, which is the third one. On PM campaigns, you can choose whether you would like to have your target audience based on a presence of interest or presence only. I didn't like that. I didn't like how they did that. The wording of that. It can confuse people out. And there's a lot of people out there that manage their ad accounts themselves as, small independent businesses. Whilst presence of interest takes into consideration audience who are both in and interested in your selected location, presence, on the other hand, focuses solely on the selected area. Much like any other default settings, Google automatically selects presence or interest. However, it is recommended that you choose the latter option, presence only. This prevents your ads from being shown to audiences outside your set location, therefore optimizing the advertisement, managing your budget levels, and making sure you're only advertising the area you want. So there'd be no point me running that same campaign around PPC and leads and the wider area if it's being shown down in London when I'm trying to target local companies in leads. So that's basically what it is. So presence or interest means, and it's manually set to that, automatically set to that, means it will show people outside your set location. Presence only means it will only show people within that location. So again, different wordings of essentially the same thing when it comes to elements. So these are 3 key things you can look at to optimize your performance marketing campaigns right now. There isn't a lot more to offer at this stage. Sorry, that was an ambulance going by. We do get that a lot when we're recording a podcast. We hope they're all right. So we are still learning when it comes to PM campaigns, because we're limited by what we can do. It's not like search campaigns where you can go in and you can set campaigns at broad, exact, and phrase match level. You can manually optimize the bid. You can optimize towards a target CPA or target ROAS. It's a lot different in terms of how you have control over them. So Performance Max campaigns is very automated, very simplistic, user followed, and there are elements to maximize performance out of them. But you need to look beyond Google Ads. You need to start looking at Google Analytics. You need to start looking at, from these PM campaigns, what quality traffic is coming, what's the bounce rate. It comes back to the element where, say, you can lead a horse to water, but it's up to the horse if he wants to drink the water or not. And essentially, that's what all advertising and marketing is. It's trying to drive quality traffic to your website, to your product pages, to encourage people to buy. But that purchase only happens on your website. It's out of our control after then. That's where platforms and tactics like CRO, conversion rate optimization, come into play. So you need to start looking at, if you want better performance from PM, those 3 key elements I talked about, which is your video and image assets, URL expansion, and your location settings. But you also start need to look at the landing pages which you're driving your users to, because you're spending all that money to drive quality traffic to the site. You want to make sure it converts. You want to look at your Google Analytics, and you should be on GA4 by now. If you have not set up GA4 on your account, you're going to have less than 12 months of data. That switch happens in June 2023. So if you're not using GA4 for your tracking and moving away from Universal Analytics, GA3, GAU, however you want to call it, you should be moved over. So you need to be looking at your GA4 data as well, the conversion value, the cost per lead, the goal completions in that, what's coming from PM campaigns. Are you running multiple PM campaigns on different services? What's working, what's not working? What's the bounce rate? What's the user flow? Where are people dropping off? Understanding this level of data will mean from the same level of spend, you will achieve better results. Because we had it with one client, but we started working with them where their drop off from their quote page was 89%. 89% of people getting to that quote page were dropped off. For the same money, by making simple improvements, we got that drop rate down to, I think, below 80%, and conversions went up, and it's cost them nothing more just by making simple changes to their website. So don't always assume when you go into Google Ads that something's not working. Have a look at the fundamental wider elements. Have a look at what is the focus and the strategy of the PM campaign. What services are doing? Are you implementing these 3 tips that I've just gone through to stop you from being expanding out and wasting budget to things you shouldn't be wasting your budget to? Does the content on the ads represent the content on the website, and vice versa? And more importantly, is your website optimized enough? Is it mobile responsive? Does it have the core web vitals in place? is it fast? Is it easy to use? Is the information on there informative? Because in the current climate, it's all about providing value and trust with the consumer. They will buy from you if they trust and value you, and they feel like they're making they're making a smart purchase with their money. So there's just some top tips. We have a couple of blogs on our website, which I would like to direct you to. One is called the latest Google Performance Max features when they go live, and we talked about it in a month. And there's another one which is basically summarizing what I've just said here, the top 3 ways to optimize your PM campaigns on Google. We'll also be adding in a couple of other updates around PM campaigns in the coming months. So do go to our website, www.bobbledigital.com/blogs. A lot of useful information there on relevant content, relevant channels, what we do, similar to what we do in our podcast. I hope you found that one useful. If you've got questions about Performance Max campaigns, we'll be talking about it in future episodes, maybe even do a bite-sized event around it, and more blogs and articles will be coming out about it. But as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube or streaming the podcast on audio. And thank you for listening. And we'll catch you on our next episode where we're talking about what is next for SEO. Thank you very much.